hip. She wasn't doing well after my dad died a few years ago. My new husband and I decided to include her in our family to start a new chapter. Since Los Angeles was too expensive, we started a new chapter in Las Vegas. We were excited to buy a home there and start a new life. Las Vegas was booming when we drove there with our two kitties in the vehicle. We were excited to move to a new place, try something new, and have mom move in when it was booming, and it still is. Decreased in 2003. We settled home, had a great Christmas, and prepared for mom's spring arrival. The awful car accident my spouse was in quickly turned our joy into fear. After being rear-ended at a signal, he had to suffer the penalties. This occurrence can change your life drastically. This fit, kind, compassionate, and fun-loving man changed drastically. Due to the case, he suffered daily, and his disability reprogrammed him to accept it. He changed. I guess only someone who has experienced that type of limitation and anguish can understand its effects. We were in Vegas, and despite the suffering, good things were happening. Medical practitioners helped me conceive as an older mother. Despite my age, my family and I were excited. Things seemed to be improving. We welcomed mom home and hoped things would improve. Still, the accident, lawsuit, and handicap burdened us. I was excited for my mother to stay and join our family because we were close. She constantly smiled when I was around. We enjoyed repeating activities on our travels. I missed an unexpected event behind the scenes. Fairy tale changes began. Everything was laid with good intentions, yet obstacles occurred. I was sick all the time. No challenge was too big for me. I told myself, "Oh, stay away from me if you're sick. I'm going to get it." This meant my words shaped my reality. My husband's illness, my mom's challenges, and my professional issues all grew because I affirmed them. I realized something odd about my mom when she started to feel down. She had been someone I could confide in, but I had no idea she no longer saw me that way. Despite our excellent way of life, which was emotionally and psychologically supporting her, she kept calling loved ones back home when she left our new home and surroundings. She also resorted to victim blaming and complaining. All of our lives were in chaos and drama, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. In the end, I just wanted everything fixed. I wanted to find a cure for my chronic disease, my husband's anguish, and my mother's awful suffering. I studied every rock and crystal for wisdom in my search for a complete solution. I had an amazing out-of-body experience during my first Reiki session after researching it. That moment, it hit me even harder. We were spirits having a human experience. More supernatural events, synchronicities, people appearing, occurred during my search. I realized I was living in enchantment with more signs and marvels than before. However, back home, things were worsening while I explored. Freefall characterized 2008. The property market was crashing while we were real estate brokers. It was horrible for homeowners and real estate agents. Everyone knew. 1 in 54 U.S. houses went into foreclosure during that crash. My partner wanted to join a 10-day Noble Stillness retreat after his problems. I supported him in anything he did to escape this situation. In this time, we encountered significant obstacles from each other. So he went on a strict retreat out of state. Noble silence means no speech or electronic use. Once inside the retreat house, your phone is safe. He had tried this before and thought he needed it, even if it was hard. I was sick again with a fever when he packed to leave. When I got an upper respiratory illness, he advised me to see a doctor instead of trying a holistic treatment, which took longer. I then did. After getting my prescription from the doctor, he called me, said goodbye, and went to his retreat. That began my near-death experience. Close call with death. A strange sense of urgency drove me to organize my home. It seemed like I had to fix and prepare. So I skipped sleep. The first 2 days were spent doing and crossing things off my list. I was crossing things off my list since I'm good at lists. Drugs did not help. I deteriorated after a few days. The antibiotics failed, so I stayed in bed. I gradually fell short. I was bedridden, unable to move. I stopped eating and drinking because I keep thinking this is the world chess game. The cosmos rearranges the chess pieces to give us our intended experiences. My mom was gone, but God bless her. I lost her when I needed her. I couldn't care for my 3-year-old, who was turning 3 soon. As I laid in bed, I felt uneasy knowing I was only meeting his basic needs. I contacted my pal. I called my girlfriend and begged her to take him. "I'm really sick," she replied quickly, and I felt relieved and free to release go once she checked in with my mom and found him okay. I knew I was unwell. After a week of agonizing pain, I contacted the doctor to acquire a new medicine while lying in bed trying to relax. I couldn't even get to the doctor again. I could not acquire the needed prescription. I relaxed in the sun and let my spirit fly that day. It was the most liberating, breathtaking, peaceful occurrence I had ever encountered. I experienced the most magnificent, stunning white light that words cannot describe. Light radiated from me. Being without my body seemed normal here. Liberation, joy, ecstasy, tranquility, enthusiasm, and peace flooded me there. I had no attachment, fear, or worry about what I let go. My light sphere was identifiable by its many colors of light. I felt like I was on a railroad platform, waiting. I was on the opposite train platform. I suddenly noticed two bright beings running toward me. It's hard to describe. Bright white light entities like humanity erupted from these two spheres. The left one looked bigger and manlier, while the right one was more feminine. Characters' personalities were gendered, but not the visuals. As they transformed, the physical form compared to the spherical form changed. First as one concept, then as separate ones, they telepathically spoke with me. I prepared to go when they welcomed me. I was greeted politely and purposefully. I was told I may choose to switch sides. I prepared. Sure, let's go. However, they had work to do. Their objective was to ensure I had enough data to decide. They provided a relationship assessment. For a long time, I avoided hearing about others' near-death experiences for fear it would damage mine. I preferred my own experience to outside sources. It might dilute my experience, I worried. I know many individuals write life appraisals, but this one was unusual. A relationship review. Emotion was the focus. No visuals or screens. Only my son and my spouse at the time come to mind, but I likely had all my soul group relationships. I felt in love with my first spouse. Unconditional love, love of the experience, and thanks for his wisdom and understanding. I was hooked. Complete detachment, no woulda, coulda, shoulda, judgment, or worry about my absence. Just real compassion and thankfulness for the occasion. I think the light beings purposefully showed me my son's relationship. Their gentle, innocent love was stunning. I am so lucky to be this amazing person's mommy. I couldn't conceal my joy after learning so much from the event. Like others, I felt great and calm after the session. Without ties to the past and no desire to return, I was ready to let go. Every parent, especially moms, knows the special bond you share with your kids, whether they're human or animal. You're attached. In contrast, there was no judgment and lots of unconditional love and respect. The entities of light told me I need more information. Your child is nearly 3 years old, making them quite young. He couldn't realize his destiny if he lost his mother so young. This soul may have suffered comparable sadness before. They wanted to know if I could comprehend his grief over losing his mother so young. I suffered greatly as a result. I claimed it ripped your soul apart. No one deserves this type of suffering, not even an adversary, loved one, or kid. I was unable to talk about my near-death experience for months, even a year, without crying. The gut reaction. I agreed because the Celestials did well. I pledged to return and mother this precious spirit and carry out the light's purpose. In my book, Temple of All Knowing, I discuss negotiations. My body returned to bodily form. Sat up straight. I was confused by what happened. I felt 95% better. I woke up confused when I believed I was dying. The entire site was radiant and beautiful. I mean inanimate things when I say everything. I lost track of time staring at the door, hinges, and knob. A coating or glow coated everything. A new me appeared. I was filled with joy and contentment, but didn't know what to do. I meant death dream. Since I've always sought purpose in life, I was lucky to have people with whom I could communicate deep thoughts and sentiments. That included my sister. Our relationship has always been troubled, I'll repeat, but we enjoyed ourselves then. Life again connected elements and people at the appropriate time. While studying meditation, she had amazing experiences. I contacted her when I knew I needed to talk to her. I went through this recently. Can you clarify? She said she might go after hearing it. We abruptly hung up after her spiritual encounter because she was so excited. My dear friend Brenda, who has since changed, was my next contact. May she be blessed. She always leads from above. I asked her spiritual guide name, and she gladly replied, "You had a near-death experience," the instructor said when I called. "The best of several I've tasted. Start tracking this residue, which lasts around 2 weeks before dissipating." Her assessment was correct. The intensity lessened with time. I was careful to record. The initial manuscript of Temple of All Knowing took 4 years to write, and I am forever grateful. Someone who experienced such an incident can attest to its transformational power. I owned what I said and spoke my mind. My husband approached me quickly after his 10 days of noble silence, knowing something had happened. I gave him the full story when he got home. Reading minds was one of the pleasures of the experience, and it was simple with him. It was beautiful because the contrast showed me he didn't have to believe me. It was the most life-changing moment I've ever had. No one could convince me otherwise.